Hey everyone, welcome back. In this episode, I'm going to be customizing my sPod. Not just the switch covers and the rockers themselves, but I'm going to be doing something a little different. I have an air gauge in mind, and it's the standard air gauge that came in it. I'm going to swap it out for a digital one that'll also show me my voltmeter and as well as the PSI in the tank, so stay tuned. Okay, so I brought you over to the Jeep. Now, there are a million videos on how to install an sPod and how to change just these rocker covers. Mine is actually the older version. I do have the air gauge, I do have the dual lit, so when I turn them on, the top will light up the bottom as well. I wanted to change these rocker covers originally for something that would say, you know, what each light was. I have the older version of the sPod, and these lights behind here only light up white, so the covers that I was getting wouldn't work well. So I'm going to change the entire rocker out. And then I do have plans for onboard air, and they only offer a mechanical air gauge like this. I'm going to swap it out for a digital one. I'm just going to remove it from the Jeep now, remove these two screws up here, disconnect the harness that goes to it, and bring it over to the workbench. Something I just wanted to touch on, guys. I just took out those two screws, pulled the harness down, and so here is the blue line that was originally for my mechanical air gauge. I ran it through when I installed the sPod. I'm gonna leave it there for now. I'm thinking the easiest way for the electronic air gauge that I want to do, I'm gonna tape the wires right to this and fish it through so I don't have to take everything off again. We're gonna see if this works out. Okay, so we have it off, we have it on the workbench. First thing we're gonna do is turn it around, take a picture of how everything is wired up now. Let me just show you what I got here. This is an Air Zenith digital air gauge. I'll have a link below in my description. I got it off Amazon. It should work well. It will also be a voltmeter. Also, I ordered new rockers from sPod. I could have gotten cheaper ones online, made in China or whatnot. I'd rather support an American company made here in the US. You might pay a little bit more, but you're getting a better quality product and you're employing an American. Not that, you know, I have anything against the Chinese ones, but I'd rather, if I can swing it, I'd rather support somebody here. So I have the new rockers as well as the new covers and the tool to remove them. Also, something else that I got in the mail this week, not really related to this project, but something I am proud of. I got 2 of my badges of honor from Jeep. I'm waiting on a 3rd one from Roush Creek. Once they do get here, I'm going to be putting them on the Jeep. I'm thinking along the same side on the driver where it says trail rated. Where do you guys keep yours? If you can, give me a comment, send me an email, show me a picture or something. I just need ideas to see where I'm going to put them. I'm thinking on that left side right by the driver's seat will be the optimum place, but all right, let's get started. Okay, so I lined up the switches that I have. I took a picture of the wiring in the back, so now we can start removing these old switches. sPod does provide you with a tool to remove the rocker switch itself. You slide it right underneath it, it fits in, and it will pop off the switch by itself, just like that. Now these rockers are basically pushed in. They have little tabs in the back. What I found is easiest, get a flathead screwdriver, and you can just start to pry it from both ends, or the side rather, and you can pull this right out now. I didn't disconnect the wires in the back yet, but you'll get the idea. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take out the first one, put the new switch in, rewire it, and move my way down. I don't want to remove everything and then I lose what's going on. Okay, so now very gently, I found it was easier if I use a pair of needle nose pliers, grab the back of the switch, pull each wire out individually. Nice and easy. You don't want to break any of the wires. Pull this last one off. Okay, so now all 4 connections are removed, and I can push out the rocker now. Slide that out just like that. And since this is going to be our first switch, this is going to be my roof light bar. So I'm going to pop this See if you can get that down. Push this right back into place. That's a cleaner look. It looks much cleaner than the other way. I like that. Okay. So we're going to turn it around, and we're going to reconnect everything exactly where it was. So, first one here. Now it's a little tight. sPod, they had to squeeze all these wires into such a small space, but they will go back on because we just took them out. Move that one out of the way. Just like that. Okay. That's that. This one went there. This one goes here. That. And this one goes in there. Now that should be it. Now, I'm going to repeat this process 6 times, go all the way across, and then I'll show you how to wire up the electronic and remove this switch here. So I was working my way along. I'm up to the 3rd switch now, and I was wiring them as I went. I realized that this is going to be an issue when I get to the air gauge itself. I might as well try to remove it now. You will need a 9/16 size wrench to remove the fitting for the air, and remove those 2 little nuts there and pop out that gauge, and then we're going to go into the gauge that I purchased and installing that. Once you remove the air fitting with the 9/16 wrench, a 7mm is needed to remove the nuts that are holding the gauge to the face. Now, don't throw any of this out. I'm going to keep my mechanical gauge. Once I do run the onboard air, if I do have an air tank, I'm going to have a separate quick connect in the back of the Jeep as well as in the front, and I'm thinking I'm going to use this mechanical gauge somewhere in the rear of the Jeep, maybe on one of the side plastic pieces where the auxiliary port is, something like that. I just think it'll be cool to have 2 locations where you can see the pressure of your tank. Okay, so we're all wired up. All of the switches are in, all the wires are in place, and you might notice that I put the air gauge back in. Little bit of a mess up on my part. I ordered an air gauge which is too big for the hole. I could probably drill the hole out and make it work. Before I go through the hassle of doing all that, I'm going to check online and see if I could find a smaller air gauge. This was the Air Zenith digital one, the AZ220K. It will not fit in the housing without modifying it. So I'm going to find out if they make other sizes of the same one. I'm going to put this back into the Jeep now and I'll test it out. It might be too light out today to see if the lights still work. So I'll come back tonight, take a quick little video and wrap this up. Sorry I let you guys down. I thought that I could get this air gauge in there. It's a little bit too big and I don't feel like cutting into it if I don't have to. Another thing, while I had this out and looking at it, there's a lot of real estate here. I'm thinking I might be able to put more switches underneath this somehow. We'll see. Figure that out later. Back installed with the original air gauge for now. I sent an email to sPod to find out if they know of any other gauges that would fit it, but for now I put it back in. And I'll touch back on this again. I do want to get that digital gauge in there. If I have to, I will cut this one up, but at least this video you saw how to change out the rockers and change the covers if need be. It's not that hard. I'll touch back on that again. Okay guys, so now I got a little bit darker so I could test out the switches. I'm gonna push the little illuminate button. So there you go. Everything's wired back up. It works properly. As I turn them on, they will all light up just the same as they did before. Really happy about that. So I reached out to sPod and I told them, hey, you know, I'm trying to switch out this gauge for a digital one. He told me, this is John from sPod, by the way. He got back to me and said, well, if you ordered the sPod from us with an air gauge in it from us, it is smaller than our other cutouts. So I explained to him what I'm going to do. He's going to figure out how much it'll be and send me out just a housing, which will be blank. I could switch these rockers into it and be able to fit my digital gauge in there. So I am going to post this video for now. It is a how-to on how to change the rockers. Stay tuned. As soon as I could get a price, I'm going to have it overnighted out to me, and I will do another video showing you exactly how to swap the mechanical gauge for a digital gauge. And once again, you'll see how to switch these rockers over and get everything all done and set. So for now, that's going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, now at least you know how to change the rockers out if you need to, or even changing the covers. It's a lot easier. And yeah, so everything works. Just to give you a quick little test, that's my 50-inch light bar. That's the 2 LED pods on the windshield. That's my bumper light bar. Air compressor is not hooked up yet. My rock lights, I'll do a video on them. And my Sasquatch lights are the Radiance backlighting lights. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Give it a like, give it a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments. I know a lot of people are going to be upset that I didn't get to do the digital gauge in this video, but I won't title it as such. And I promise I will come back and do it again because it's something I really want to get to. Thank you.